Yeah. All right. Did anybody think of a topic? Welcome to another episode of 5 Idiots Talking Toys. I'm Shane, and it is a podcast that you are watching or listening to on your favorite app, wherever you get your podcasts. And we are here with our collector discussion. We have a new topic every Sunday night. We release them at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Our Wednesday episodes are Wins and Whiffs. We share our new collectibles with you and where we struck out in the hobby. You can check those out. We have a full playlist of those. I think there's 4,000 of those now. And we also have 1 million episodes of this podcast. You could check that out on our playlist on YouTube as well. Let's bring some people that I know in. Jabba the Hutt is here.
Come on, Shane. That was my win.
I'm waiting.
Waiting for what?
Do you have this Stormtrooper Starry Night Van Gogh shirt? Correct. Nice. I like that. Johnny! And Charles.
Hey, what's going on, Shane? Shane, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on.
Correct.
This has been a dream for me, just to be on a show with you.
Thank you for being here. John, did we record the last Wins and Whiffs with the wrong background?
Nope. John changed it.
He is an editor. He is a producer. He is a guest booker. He is a plumber who uses saws.
Yes.
I mean, he's an electrician who uses pipe wrenches. He will christen your facilities.
Absolutely.
Right. Well done, John. I'm proud of you. Thank you for.
If you have a house,
thank you for your service, John. Thank you. For
testing them pipes out since 1968.
Whoa. I wasn't even thought of in 68.
John, come on. I was giving you 10 years. It's more like 58.
Yeah, I was like 68. Wow. Good for you, Brandon. All right. So the topic.
Wasn't he 10 years old when Star Wars came out?
Who, me?
Yeah.
7.
Oh, sorry. I was off by 3 years.
Huge difference.
Well,
huge.
In John's defense, you had him in the 60s and not the 70s. So, All right. Fair enough. He's a 70s baby.
Damn it.
I was born during the Nixon administration. Yeah.
John and I are the only 70s babies.
Mm-hmm.
And we're at the opposite ends, but you guys are all 80s.
Charles isn't he 79?
Are you? Oh, I thought you were like 80 and Chris was 82.
It's just my smooth skin and how
I It's true. So true.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't remember what the topic is.
What?
Let me think for a second. It's new Star Wars is better than no Star Wars.
Right.
Yes.
Correct.
I disagree.
Okay.
I agree.
I agree with that statement.
You agree, Charles? New Star Wars is better than no Star Wars?
No Star Wars means no new Legos.
No new Star Wars means no Star Wars. Star Wars go bye-bye.
No.
Bye-bye.
I don't think so.
Bye-bye, Star Wars.
Totally.
That's interesting that you would say that. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So I'll just jump in right off the bat and say I totally agree with that statement, but I am at my weakest point standing behind that right now because I have friends outside of the hobby, outside, just like movies, like TV shows, like the stuff they liked when they were kids, but don't collect. And they're coming to me going, "Oh my god, what did you think of what did you think of Acolyte?" And I stop them right there because I've only watched like an episode and a half, and the show is over now. Like the finale aired when we're sitting here right now, and I tell them like, stop right now. Like I don't want it ruined for me, but at the same time, I have not made any effort to go and watch the show really.
So yeah, I mean, I have the same thing. I have people at work that come and talk to me like, "Oh, did you see the new Star Wars show?" I was like, "No, I haven't seen it," and they're watching it on their own, So,
and my friends are shocked. They're like, What do you mean? They're like, don't you have a podcast? Like, how do you not watch the show?" I'm like, believe me, I usually do, but I just I don't have the interest yet.
So I know John is very against this. He's all for, what's it, John? Your quote: "No new Star Wars is better than, or any Star Wars is better than no Star Wars." Right?
That was his quote.
Yeah.
No, what?
What'd you say?
No, I mean, people are saying new Star Wars is better than no Star Wars.
New Star Wars is better than no Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
but there are always been Star Wars.
You say that now, right? You're saying that right now.
No. That's the topic.
I understand that, but right. you are saying you are.
I'm saying no Star Wars is better than some of the new Star Wars.
Welcome to the show, Brandon.
Some of the new.
I know. No, you're misunderstanding what I'm trying to say.
John hasn't said what he said yet. So, let John say it first.
Well, John, say it because I have a question for you.
I just said it. I mean,
I have a question for you too, John.
John, can you say it? Because I have a question.
I think that just throwing stuff up against the wall to see if it sticks is not better than no Star Wars.
They're not actually doing that though. They're actually making it the way they're making it for that way. That's what they want.
Well, they're doing it. Yeah, they're doing that on purpose. But I would like. So, John,
ask me.
Rewind the tape a little bit to Mandalorian season 1.
Yes.
Would you say that statement?
Amazing.
Would you say new Star Wars is better than no Star Wars?
Would I say that in that instance?
1? Yes.
I'm sorry. Would I say that in that instance?
Yes.
Not necessarily, but I mean, good new Star Wars is better than no Star Wars. Yes.
No. Would you have said that like at whatever the date was when that show was out and we were watching it?
No, because I wasn't anticipating a pile of shit. I was anticipating something good. It's almost like these people are saying, "Well, Acolyte sucks, but new Star Wars is better than no Star Wars."
No. But the question is when The Mandalorian came out, it was the first. Well, I mean, the movies had been out recently, but it was the first series for sure.
Yeah.
And, you have to remember back whether you liked or not season 1, was your opinion then. I think it's changed. I think it's fair to say it's changed.
That was my question was, would you make that statement back after watching the first season Mandalorian right after it had come out? Like,
okay.
Rewind a few years.
Yeah.
So when that happened.
I wouldn't have argued with that. I mean, that statement wouldn't even have been in existence. The reason why that statement's in existence is because people are complaining about, like the old school fans are complaining about the garbage that Disney's cranking out, right? That's why they're saying, as a defense, they're saying, well, new Star Wars is better than no Star Wars. It's garbage.
Which one? Which ones are garbage though?
Let's see. Book of Boba Fett.
No, it wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad.
It wasn't great, but it was okay.
Yeah, and I'm not anti, everybody's like, well, you just like the old characters and but no, I like a good story, and the stories sucked. Mandalorian sucked me in from the beginning. I mean, Mandalorian season 1, it grabbed my attention, and they had me for the whole series.
What'd you think of season 2?
Huh?
What'd you think of season 2?
I didn't.
How about season 3?
Wait, what season are they on? They've only done 2, right?
3.
They've done 3?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess
the
I like
one was
2.
the one that you didn't like.
Do what?
The third one.
The third was that the one where they went to the planet with Jack Black?
Yeah, with Alice in Wonderland.
Stupid.
Yeah. But that was a terrible episode. Well, and it really put a scar on the whole season. But
for like a kid though, Like my son loves season 3. Like
Yeah,
that's what you want. You
Well, that's
want like
fine.
little kids to watch Star Wars and like it.
So John,
They love season
John, with Charles's statement right there, your Star Wars is not what matters.
Landon Star Wars.
3. Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
It's little
But
kids. Star
it
Wars.
can be. Can it not?
Well, yeah, I guess. But they're catering to an older crowd to cater to you when they don't need to, because they're trying to grab. You got to remember, and people, you got to put away your lightsabers and put away your Jedi outfits, people that, live in a wonderland here. But this is all about making money. And if you ain't making money, then we ain't going to do it. Right. So
yeah,
they'll write the stories to grab the attention of the younger generation, and they'll pump that stuff out to the younger generation. And they're going to leave us old farts behind. You know why? Because a lot of people that are into Star Wars and all that, man, they're dropping dead left and right. Every time I log on a post, there's someone like, oh, rest in peace, this guy died. And you're like, oh, man, another one. Gone.
That's what's happening at a vintage Star Wars.
He's
It's
one
like,
with the Force. I see that all the
people are
time.
dying.
So, I mean, it's Mark Hamill, I went to one of his panels when I saw him last November, and he said it best. He said, I keep getting questions about, hey, so what would Luke Skywalker have done in this comic book and all that? And he's like, I can't help you there, man. He's like, it was a movie 40-something years ago. It's time to let it go.
yeah.
That's what he tells you.
He should just be like,
right?
who
But he's
cares?
making a grip of money off of everything Star Wars, and he owes his whole career to it, obviously. But he's like at the point where it's like it's time to let it go. When people are like, I saw you in what's one of those famous comics, John, that he came out in, like oh Jesus, something
the Joker.
the Mind's Eye, Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Oh, Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Okay.
Somebody referenced that when they asked him a question. Hey, so in Splinter of the Mind's Eye, when you're in that cave, what did you expect to happen to you? Did you think something was going to come? And he's just like, sorry, man, I did the movie. I'm an actor.
Script.
I am not Luke Skywalker.
He's asking him a question about the character in a book that he's not even in part of.
Did anybody ask him?
Exactly. So he was like, it's time to let it go.
Did anybody ask him what it was like doing Blow in the Burt Kreischer movie?
You know what it makes me think of? It's like you hear actors being interviewed. I'm thinking specifically of Stern, where I've heard like really, in-depth interviews. And Stern is always surprised when they say like they have like a super famous movie from a bunch of years ago. And so many actors will say, I haven't seen it in 20 years. And they're like, yeah, he's like, well, when you're flipping through the channels and it's on, will you stop and watch it? No. Or some actors will say, I'll stop for like a minute just to like kind of fresh my memory of what it looked like. And then I just turn it off. He's like, I can't watch it because either they had seen it a bunch of times a bunch of years ago, or their life is so different now. Like it's for whatever their reasons are. A lot of actors don't watch their stuff. So imagine being an actor and being asked about something they weren't even a part of because they were that character. It's like, dude, leave me alone. I was that character 40 years ago. Like, got to move on.
This whole thing.
That's what he's saying.
This is a business, and they want to make money.
Yeah.
Like,
correct.
Yeah.
This Lego set, John's not going to watch Mandalorian 3, and he's not going to buy this.
Right.
But a little kid is going to buy it.
Of course.
That's who they're
Or
catering
Charles.
to. Someone who's going to spend money. And old guys want vintage like toys. Like,
but see, here's the thing.
Older generation does.
Here's the thing. The older generation, they're the ones who are excusing the trash that some people consider garbage by saying new Star Wars is better than this.
Yeah, so I see what John's saying. He's saying that our generation, the people like us, are the ones that are saying these comments.
And he's right.
Yes.
But you also want Star Wars, like new Star Wars. Even if I mean, what are you going to do?
But I'm telling you, like, Andor is a fantastic show. It's an amazing show.
We all hated it, though, for like a while.
I'll tell you what.
We all hated it for a while.
It was a real slow pickup.
But it's
fantastic.
The older,
really
the older time frame. So during like Rogue One, so John likes it because it's got older characters in it,
Not necessarily. That's not why I like it.
But,
I like
but
it because
keep in
it has a
mind,
good story.
Storyline's really good.
Keep in mind, you do have to appreciate a little bit, coming from the point of view of John for the moment, you still do have to appreciate the fact that Disney, obviously these shows are spaced out. They can't, release them every other month. They take time and money, but they are trying to cater to a wider audience. They didn't make Andor for, our 7-year-olds, guys, our 5, 6, 7-year-olds. They made Andor for an older audience. I can't even speak to Acolyte. I don't know if it's somewhere in the middle because I haven't watched it. But they made Mandalorian for everybody, for families, really.
Right.
And I understand what Charles is saying about Landon. I mean, he saw a whole season of a gang of Mandalorians like flying the whole time and fighting like giant eagles and crazy cool stuff. Like, it might have not had the best storyline ever, but the kids probably loved it. And same with Boba Fett. My son has seen that show now, honestly, like 8 times through. Loves it. He watches it by himself, and he's 7. Like, he just loves it.
Any of you guys watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I just finished it. I just finished it for the second time.
You guys watching the new season of
House of Dragon?
House of Dragons?
Just started it because I had never watched the first season. I finished Game of Thrones, went right into it, and we just started episode 1 or 2.
My wife's hooked on it. Everybody's talking about it. They're saying it's getting really good.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say that about this. You can say, new Game of Thrones is better than no Game of Thrones, right? So even if it sucks, it's still something to watch and something to see. So my opinion on the whole thing is that I don't like the shows that they're putting out, but I do like that they're putting out shows. Because it keeps the hobby fresh. Okay. It keeps people, entertained with it. It keeps people wanting to know more and read the books, buy the toys, watch older shows, watch the movies. And it's helping the generations grow up with, something that we grew up with. And that's what it's all about, is passing it on to newer generations. I might not like what's being put out, but to me, it's better that they put something out than put nothing out at all, because after 83, when the cartoons came out in 84 and 85, they went 10 years with no Star Wars, and Star Wars died. And it died quick because there wasn't anything new.
Yeah.
And so what? It sucks right now. But that's just on a couple of the shows. I'm sure they will get a little bit better, when the Mandalorian season 4, the one that's coming out in the theaters, that comes out. Some of the other stuff that they have in the works that I hope is a lot better. I know people that watch Bad Batch. They said that was really good. That just ended as well. So, I mean,
Andor season 2 should be good.
Yeah.
And Charles, you were showing a Lego before. It goes both ways. The kids, adults might not want those little Lego sets, but kids do. The kids might get that Lego set as a gift, and having never seen the show that it's associated with, and then they want to see the show. Yeah. It could go vice versa. They see the show, now they want to go get a play set to play with, like we did as kids. So that stuff is all going to be cyclical, and of course there's all the tchotchkes and stuff, and that kids can get, the backpacks and all the stuff that they can have in their life of Star Wars. So it all feeds into itself. But I really would implore everybody who's watching the show, who's listening to us, if you saw a Star Wars show, if you haven't seen a Star Wars show, find some time to binge it. It's a little tough when you have an Andor and you're waiting week for week, and it's like finally by the 3rd or 4th episode it picks up, or you have Boba Fett, maybe you don't like the first 2 episodes. It's hard to wait and want to keep watching it. But when you can binge it, if you haven't seen it, watch it. And if you did see it and you did struggle through, 8 weeks or 6 weeks, go back and binge it. If you have kids, go watch it with them in like a weekend or 2 weekends. I'm telling you, I've said this before. I watched Obi-Wan again with my kids. It's really good. It's not the most amazing thing ever, but it's a really good show. And when you binge it, it does feel like that movie they were supposed to make, yet they stretched the story out to 6 episodes. So you got 6 40-minute episodes instead of a 2.5-hour movie. Just enjoy it like that. Like, think about all the crap we've watched in our lives, the stupid, dumb shows and movies we've watched. If you're a Star Wars fan, just go binge a 5-hour Obi-Wan movie. It's enjoyable.
Acolyte, not the Acolyte. You just got to skip over it.
But
there's no way someone's watching that am liking it.
So did you made it all the way through?
The Acolyte?
Yeah.
I haven't watched 1 second of it.
Okay.
I haven't hit the play button on it.
Yeah. I sat down the day, like the day after it came out, and watched the first episode. And then I went back to watch it a couple days later. I think I told you this. I didn't even remember that I had already started the second episode. I must have fallen asleep or turned it off or whatever. So
I refuse to give them 1 view. Like, I'm just not going to let them know that I watched it.
It
I saw
almost
the
seems
previews.
like
It's absolutely horrendous.
it almost seems like the Acolyte's intent was to polarize people. You know what I mean? It's just
listen, the whole Hollywood structure, you guys know this, it's just it's so different than real life. Or not that it's different than real life, but they have agendas. Now, those agendas, there's people that are concerned with those agendas in real life. I'm not going to even get into any of that. But what I'm saying is Disney is not just, George Lucas, a nerdy guy who wants to make movies and has his, director buddies, and he just loves film. Like, that's where this started. He was a nerdy guy, wrote a sci-fi story, wants to record stuff and, film stuff and make a film. Then you got Disney, who was like, a guy who was into animation and wanted a theme park. It's just a big business now. They're the biggest Hollywood studio. It's no longer, Walt Disney here and George Lucas there. They have an agenda, and the people they work with are in Hollywood. They're, producers and actors and actresses and all that stuff. And so that's bleeding over, I think. Yeah. It's bleeding over them being the biggest Hollywood studio. They have to play at a certain level, though. They can't. They're also a family-oriented company for the most part. So, they drew the line with Gina Carano. They didn't like what she said. I mean, how many other movie studios would have done that? None. Nobody would have fired somebody because they,
especially her. Oh,
I mean, people have said worse, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Tune in just for Gina.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a mistake for a number of reasons. People really liked her. She was very popular.
Yeah.
But I agree overall, though. Keep the Star Wars coming. By the way, I had just looked up on my phone because I was curious if The Mandalorian came out after the 3 most recent movies. What do they call them? The sequel. The sequel trilogy.
Okay, yeah.
And episode 9 came out in 2019, and so did Mandalorian. I don't remember. I think Mandalorian came out in the end of the year, right? Like around Christmas time. Yeah. It was Christmas.
I think it was.
So there was a good, 7 or 8 months between. So the movies were done. Like the 9 movies were done before Mando came out. But there was, there were people that didn't like some of the movies or all of those 3 movies.
I mean, I'd be into an early, Vader show. They had one. Because Hayden Christensen would come back and play the part, and Ian McDermott could come back and they could, the first few years of Vader might be something cool.
Well, there's a huge gap there. There's plenty of time they can fill, and frankly, there's Vader in Obi-Wan, and that was 10 years after Episode 3, and 9 years before Episode 4. So, I mean, you got 19 years in there or so, and Vader was in Obi-Wan in the middle there. So,
and everybody, all the nerds know this. The super nerds,
the super nerds, nerds.
Are we super nerds or
no? I mean, we are. We don't have the time for this, but there was.
We're nerdy enough.
I see myself like nerd. And I'm like, here. And then there's like super nerd.
So my definition of super nerd is the guy that when he sees something in Acolyte and he's like, I know that temple. That temple was in this book and had this guy. And then he picked up this kyber crystal and all
nerd.
That. Yeah, like the guys that like know all the Easter eggs and know who all these people are, right? Because they read all the books, they read all the manuals. Yeah. So I picked up this collection a few days ago, and it had this book. I don't have it on me. Imperial Source Book, West End Games. It's a computer game. West End, I guess.
No, I've heard that name before. I think West End is like
Oh, is it RPG?
Kind of like a board game, I think. I think
Is it
it's
a
got like
role-playing game?
figures and like cards.
Those are
Maybe,
video games.
maybe.
Because I actually have one figure just because I found a Leia one, and I'm like, what is West End game? I don't know nothing about the game, but I think there's these little pewter figures.
So this book came out in 1989, right? And it was really nice hardback. I'm flipping through it, and I noticed that one of the tanks that is part of the Imperial Army was something that was used in the prequels, the one with the wheels on it. You know, there's the big tank. They have a toy of it. It's got a bunch of wheels, like 8 wheels on each side.
The one that opens up and all the purple balls come out, or whatever, or they hit them with they hit the purple balls at them.
Something like that. No,
Yeah,
this one's like, or maybe this was in like one of the cartoons. I don't know. Like all the clone troopers jump off of it. I think they made a Lego of it. It's got big round wheels. This is like a monster truck, but with a bunch of wheels.
A turbo tank.
Something like that, yeah. Well, I saw that in the book, and I'm like, huh, interesting. So the way that they've started, you know, incorporating these things, and you'll see with Dave Filoni, you know, the interviews with him and stuff, they've brought in a bunch of stuff from these video games, from these books, from these things that have been written for, you know, decades ago that people are very familiar with, and they'll drag them into these shows and stuff. So that way these people are like, oh, I remember that. You know, I had no idea that was, I thought that was made up for the movie. No, apparently that came out 20 years before, you know, any of these other shows that are out. And it's just stuff from video games and other stuff like that where you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting that they've already created these things and they're just incorporating them in these shows. Like nothing of this is new, apparently. Like this is all old stuff that's already been previously thought out, you know. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
There's a whole bunch of stuff from the prequels that is from Ralph McQuarrie art.
Yeah.
And if you don't know his art, which I don't really, I mean, I know what I know, but you know, he's got a lot of stuff, and I'm sure there's stuff that's never even been public. I mean, he created so many things for Lucasfilm. I don't know that it's all been released, but you can like Google it and probably find some like references where people will show you. There's all kinds of stuff in the prequel that he drew back in the 70s and late 70s and early 80s maybe, and they just didn't use it for the original trilogy, but they went back to this huge library of artwork and pulled maybe not exact replicas, but like the helmet or, you know, the look of a vehicle or something, and used it for other movies. And it's pretty awesome that it blows your mind that an artist could be that prolific to do so much artwork for a project that they couldn't even dare use it all in 3 movies, that they still had some left over.
What's funny is that one of the guys that was in charge of making some of these ships for George Lucas, like the Falcon, the Imperial Star Destroyer, the TIE Fighter, X-Wing, created all these different models. And finally, Lucas picked the ones that he liked. Years later, now the guy's been dead for a few years now, but I had a chance to meet him and talk with him for a little bit. He showed me the picture of his first Star Destroyer that he built, right? And I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. It doesn't look anything like a Star Destroyer. Well, that exact ship was used in one of the recent movies or TV shows. And I was like, that's pretty interesting that they're pulling out some of this stuff that they've already created and they're putting it on screen now.
Hey, Brandon, let me in.
Yes, Charles.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. If anyone listened to the last 5 or 10 minutes of you talking, you are a super nerd.
There you go.
Fan.
Out of us 5, you are number 1 hugest nerd. I would think number 2 is probably Shane. I would go.
I don't know. I would say John knows a lot more too.
Yeah. Okay.
I have never ever in my life read a Star Wars comic or book in my life.
Shane has to be 3.
Well, Shane does a lot of research on the side when he sees certain things, and then he reads up on it. So
I am all the way on the bottom. I am definitely number 5.
I don't read books, so even if it's Star Wars, never in my life did I want to grab a large novel and sit there and read. I'm just not a reader, but I will now with the internet for years, of course. Yeah, if something catches my eye, I'll sit there for an hour and a half and learn everything I can about it.
I'm glad I'm number 1 at something.
Hey, Charles, what is a Corellian cargo ship?
Name one if you can.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
The Millennium Falcon. Have you heard of it?
This stuff does not soak into my brain.
The Carillion freighter.
Meaningless. I have
Shane,
so
I'm gonna
many
share-
other things that are in my brain. I
Since
can't
Shane
fit
reads
these
since
nerdy
Shane
Star
reads
Wars things in
books
there.
online, I'm going to share a PDF with him of what I'm talking about.
Okay. We should do Star Wars trivia.
I would lose.
Because there's
Maybe
so
bring
many
it up
different
later.
levels that you could do it at. You could do like I went on a cruise 2 years ago, and my wife is looking at the daily, activities, and she goes, "Oh, there's a Star Wars trivia at 1:00," and I'm like, "All right, well, I got to go to that." I mean, we're looking for stuff to do, so we all go and sit there, and there's 20 questions. I think I told you guys this. I get them all correct. And one of I don't remember the question now, but I told this on the show in an episode. One of the questions was wrong. Like they had the question, and it's just some girl who works on a cruise ship. She doesn't know Star Wars. She's reading off of a card, but they had the answer wrong. It was something about Yoda, and it was completely wrong. And I had the right answer, and I lost the contest because somebody else got all 19 right, and the 20th one got wrong, but it matched their answer. And I lost. Can you believe that? So you could do it at like a cruise level where some, average person could get most of them right. But Brandon could probably stump us all, is my point.
I would lose. I wouldn't even play. It wouldn't be worth. I know nothing. I know nothing at all.
Do you know who Peter Mayhew played?
Chewbacca.
Yes.
It's because you guys told me 400 times.
If you've learned anything from this show, it's that.
My God, you finally got it right.
Finally got it. Yeah, that would be fun. We definitely should do Star Wars trivia. I could even see that being separately a live show. Maybe we could have some of the audience come with some trivia questions for us in the
that'd be fun.
chat. Yeah, or submit them in advance so the chat doesn't ruin them. Kind
Can
of.
I
thing.
get like multiple choice at least?
Maybe. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Do a true or false section.
Well, I don't
Alec
think you're-
Guinness. Who did Alec Guinness play?
I'm honestly, I'm just making this up. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yay, you got it.
Hey,
Of course.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a total guess.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good guess. I'm impressed.
I don't think there's going to be anybody who ever agrees. I mean, it's just going to be one of those things where
I think as a
agree to
Star Wars,
disagree.
yes, but I think as a Star Wars fan, I think if you put if everybody got shot up with truth serum, they would have to say, yeah, I really don't like what they've been putting out lately, but yeah, keep making Star Wars because I'll probably like some of it. My kids like it, or yeah, they'll keep making toys and I like collecting, or something. Like you don't want it to be the early 90s where there's no Star Wars and nobody's even talking about Star Wars. And that's not going to happen because Disney paid $4 billion so they could keep making movies and stuff. They're not going to stop.
Yeah.
Even if there wasn't new Star Wars, I think I'd still watch Star Wars.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd still be a Star Wars fan. I mean, there's people who are Jaws fans. There's people who are, Close Encounters fans. There's people who are ET fans.
Yeah.
Think about how many Ghostbuster fans there are.
Yeah.
That's that's pretty.
Yeah, they've made so many additions to that movie and released so many more toys. Yeah.
As popular as that franchise is, like to the general public and was from the get-go, it's almost like a cult movie just because it has that kind of following of a cult classic where the cult behind it is the only thing carrying the movie. It's almost got that kind of a fandom behind it, yet it was a big blockbuster franchise.
Yeah.
Interesting that you bring that up. My dad was here. He's here right now. And I put on the new one on for him, the winter, whatever you call it, the winter's
Frozen
Beach or something. Yeah.
whatever it's called. And he's like, they're still making these movies? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what about the old farts? Are they still in it? And I was like, just wait and see. So he's like, who are these new people? He's like, this kind of sucks. I was like, just wait. So then finally the old guys came. He's like, oh, they brought the old guys back? He's like, this is great. So he started watching that. And then I don't know if he finished it or whatnot, but
Frozen Empire. I think that's what they were hoping for with the sequels,
Yeah.
because they brought back the old characters but they killed them all.
Spoiler alert, John. I haven't seen it yet. Jesus.
Yeah, they're all dead.
Okay.
Except for Chewbacca. Right?
That's another one that I did want to watch, but for whatever reason I haven't rushed to see it. I have it on my list somewhere, saved, but
All right, I got one last one for you. Peter Cushing played who? Charles?
I was actually just going to say Yoda, but Han Solo. Oh no!
Oh, stop it!
No, that one I know. See, now you're going to make me look stupid because I have no idea.
I know. Shane knows.
C-3PO. There you go.
Shane knows.
C-3PO. Correct.
No.
Seriously?
You met C-3PO. No. He walked by our booth.
Anthony Daniels.
It's meaningless to me. It really is. It means nothing.
Brandon stood for 6 hours in his line to get his autograph.
Yeah.
Peter Cushing played who?
I think I have it right. I'm a little nervous though.
General Madine.
I want to hear Shane's answer because I know John knows who it is. Because John's old enough to know who this actor is.
What?
I don't think John knows who it is. So
he's a very famous actor in the UK.
Shane, he doesn't know it. Go right to John. Don't say it.
He played in a lot of horror movies.
Yes. So John knows who it is. Shane.
All right. So John definitely knows who it is. I'm going to say my first answer. I was just a little nervous if it was somebody kind of close to that circle, but Grand Moff Tarkin.
You got it.
Okay. I thought that was my initial.
Great. Yeah. Hey, sound off in the comments below if you want to see us do more stupid Star Wars.
I love trivia. I love games. So if we do a Star Wars trivia, we do that a couple times.
Here's what they want, Brandon. They just want me to look like a moron and just not know any of them. That's what everybody wants.
Charles is going to start studying now. He's going to start learning everything. He's going to get an encyclopedia.
Star Wars. No, he wants to
read a thing. I won't read a thing.
So wait, because you said Yoda, now you get a bonus point. You get 2 points. Right, but you get 2 points if you can name who played Yoda.
So, okay, last question.
Jim Henson?
Who? No. Was Yoda played by a person or was he a puppet?
It's a puppet.
Okay, so forget about who is controlling the puppet. That's nobody knows that, well, except Brandon. Who?
It's the same person
who literally played Yoda? Who's Yoda's voice?
No, the question is Yoda a puppet or was he played by a person?
Well, he said puppet. He said that.
Yeah, I said puppet.
He's incorrect.
Yoda was a puppet.
It's a puppet.
He was both.
When was there a person inside a Yoda costume?
You know Deep Roy?
Yes, of course.
What?
Deep
no, he was
Roy,
in the sequels.
No,
in
Deep
the
Roy played Yoda walking.
Oh, really? They must have shot from further away because he must have been bigger than Yoda.
I'll be done in a second.
Oh, that's interesting. Deep Roy is awesome. He's done so many roles. I love him in. He was in Dune, which I have only watched half of.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that's Deep Roy.
He was the old lady in Poltergeist too, wasn't he?
He was an Oompa Loompa too.
Well, my kids know him well because they like the newer Willy Wonka with Johnny Depp, and he plays all the Oompa Loompas. They like CGI him into 100 people.
Let me know when you're doing the game show because I'll probably
you're gonna skip it.
No one's gonna watch so they can see if Shane gets it right or wrong. All they want to do is watch me just say stupid, just moronic answers.
And that's why you need to be there.
Right. All right. So Brandon, there's 2 answers to this question. Brandon gave you Deep Roy. What's the other answer? Who played Yoda? Who's the voice?
I already said Jim Henson. I have no idea.
You're not
very close.
You're in the right area.
You're very close.
That's the only guy who I know.
Let me just say,
Jim Henson worked with him a lot.
Let me just say, Fozzie Bear.
He's not gonna know.
John.
Fozzie Bear?
Not gonna know.
My Star Wars knowledge out of out of like a 10, it's probably like a 0.25.
The funny
Mark
thing
Hamill
is,
could walk by Charles in the street, and Charles would have no idea who it is.
right. The funny thing is Charles has been hearing Frank Oz his whole entire life and not even knowing it. And Frank Oz has done so many voices, but he's Yoda.
I have no idea who Frank Oz is.
He's like a bunch of the Muppets. Was he on Sesame Street at all?
I only know
Wizard
of Oz. That's it.
No, that's Frank Baum, who wrote the Wizard of Oz. You're confused.
This is why Shane is either 2 or 3, because he's definitely a nerd also.
All right. Well, let's wrap up this episode. I love this idea of Star Wars trivia. I don't think that
I hope everyone enjoys
Chris is going to like it.
Who?
I don't think Chris is going to like it.
He definitely knows more than me, but he doesn't know that much either. So.
Okay. Well, we'll have to like mix in some toy trivia too, because he knows a lot about the toy. Well, he knows about the figures, but not the accessories. He knows about the Does he know vehicles or play sets? It's always so funny what he doesn't know. He asks us questions, and we're like, "You don't know that?"
He knows card backs, figures, all sorts of places,
all the mocks. Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, all that stuff.
He knows all that stuff like on the back of his hand.
I know what none of that means when you guys say like it's a 38C back. I don't know what A, B, C, D, E, or F mean.
When he starts saying debut card, I want to punch my computer screen. Like he knows everybody's debut card. It's who cares? Nobody.
It cares. It's a difference in money when it's their first issue.
I know there's a lot of people that care, but I so don't care. I don't care. All I cared about was getting the toy. I don't care if my mom got the debut card or not, and I don't care now. All right, so this is a discussion that could go on forever. We're never going to come to a consensus, of course. It's just a matter of opinion, but absolutely. Sound off in the comments below. What do you prefer? Is new Star Wars better than no Star Wars? Do you wish they could somehow only put out Star Wars like every 4 years and it would just be, one really good thing? Or do you like to see them expanding the universe and telling stories that maybe happened at the same time, which I love the timeline stuff, but in different parts of the universe, different characters. I'll close with this thought that I wanted to share with you guys. My TV died recently. I was due, I guess. It was 12 years. I got a really nice TV, got a really nice deal on an 83-inch OLED. So I am in all my glory over here. I got an LG OLED. I got the top-rated TV. I got the top-rated sound bar.
I only buy Sony TVs. That's it.
The only TV that even matched the same score as this is the Bravia model, and it was 1.5 times the price. It was a ridiculous price. So, I think they know that they have a lot of Sony people that will stick with Sony, but the TV I got was like the winner of everything I looked at. But in any case, I get it all connected. I get the picture, on and everything. I haven't even calibrated or anything. 2 days later, I get the sound bar. I connect that top-rated sound bar. I was like, hopefully I don't have to buy anything for a decade. I'm getting this. I'm setting up like a movie theater in my living room. First thing I put on, I'm like, I gotta see Ultra 4K, whatever. I go to Disney Plus, go right to Rogue One. Fast forward to like 3/4 of the way through the movie when they're attacking Scarif, and all the X-Wings and TIE fighters are in space, and the Star Destroyers, and they're attacking the gate, and the Y-Wings are coming in and bombing, and then you got Gold Leader from the original movie coming in.
Why are you ending the show like this?
I was in all my glory, sound checking my new setup, seeing the picture of my new setup, and I was like, the first thing that jumped into my mind is like, let me get like this movie I love. Let me get this movie I love that's like new CGI, like great sound, 4K, and my kids immediately stopped what they were doing. We ended up watching like 45 minutes of the movie, just trying to sound check it. And that's it. Like, there's people out there that love Star Wars. They might not love it all, but when you see it come on, it's like you almost can't help but sit down and enjoy it.
Well, was it a good TV and a good soundbar?
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Did it bang?
It bangs. Yeah. It's what do the kids are saying now? It's
she bang.
Slaps.
It's bussin'.
It's
I think
bussin'.
Bussin's out.
Nah, that's a little old.
I
I
think
think
Bussin's
yeah,
yeah,
out.
it's old now.
hanging and slaps.
Slaps.
Yeah, it was.
That shit smacks.
Yeah.
Radical.
It was Skibbity, Ohio.
I want to slap Brandon for his knowledge in Star Wars. That's what I want to
Slap him on that gap.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, come over here and slap my glizzy.
Yeah, remember Charles introduced us to glizzies? He's got his finger on the pulse with that teenage daughter. She's keeping him young. She's keeping him young with all the lingo. Yeah. All right. Well, sound off in the comments. We want to hear what you think about Star Wars in general. Do you want to keep seeing it get pumped out? There's stuff on the slate until 2026. So for the next 2 years, supposedly more stuff is coming. And hopefully you find something you like. That about does it, right, guys?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it for Brandon.
Brandon. Do you know he met the guy who created all the TIE fighters and X-Wings and space shuttles?
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. He's
Super
had lunch.
nerd.
He had lunch with him at Chipotle, but now he's passed away.
Super nerd.
All right. Thanks very much for watching another episode of 5 Idiots Talking Toys. Please check out our Patreon. Support the show there. You'll get some extra content and early previews of everything we do. We'll see you next time on 5 Idiots. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, super nerds.